Tanzino, and we have Monique Robinson.
Yeah, Monique is tracking the return of the heat and the humidity for your weekend. But first, devastation at a Guilford County church destroyed in a fire this morning. The pastor says it was built in 1920, more than 100 years ago.
So right now we've got that coverage with Marissa Tanzino. She's live at the Celia Phelps United Church.
Well, guys, investigators cleared the scene here at this church on Groovetown Road just before noon today. Give you a look at it behind me. You can see what still stands here, a hole in the roof after it collapsed, and the front side of the building just torched from this fire overnight. Here's a picture of the that the Pinecroft Sedgefield Fire Department shared with us that was taken when they first got to the scene around 3:30 this morning. They think the fire was burning for some time before they got here, but the fire department was able to put it out in under an hour. The fire chief says they started to try and put the fire out on the inside of the building, but had to pull crews out, and luckily did so just in time before the roof collapsed. The church is over a century old with historical significance, and the fire department knew that when they got to the scene and tried to save as much as they could. We did speak with the pastor about this fire. Here is what he had to say.
To see it with hole in the roof, to see it burnt out, to smell it as I drove up, it's just shocking.
Now, several agencies responded to the fire this morning, including the Greensboro Fire Department, the SBI, and the ATF. Now, the investigation continues, but as of right now, the fire department says they haven't found anything that leads them to believe this fire is suspicious, but of course we'll bring you any information as we get it. Live in Guilford County, Marissa Tanzino, WFMY News 2.
Coming up at 4:30, we're going to continue our team coverage with 4 to 5's Jalen Gilkey. He spent time today talking with a man who says he's been a member of that church for more than 50 years. Well, right now we want to turn to medical news because one TRIAD healthcare system announced changes to its hospital visitation policy. Cone Health is restricting the number of people allowed to visit hospital patients to just one person per day. I want you to know that this change only applies to patients in the main hospitals. This does not affect people at the surgery centers and other branches of Cone Health's healthcare system. We reached out to the Hospital Patient Services Department, who says this move comes as positive cases are on the rise in the community.
We recognize how important it is for patients to have a support person during their hospital stay. And in order to balance that against the safety with the variant, we have changed the inpatient policy only.
Again, this policy change applies only to the main hospital, not other branches of Cone Healthcare system like surgery centers and the cancer treatment locations. Well, the Greensboro City Council is also making changes in response to the growing numbers of coronavirus cases. City Board and Commission meetings will be conducted virtually, and this is effective immediately, which means that meetings will be held via Zoom and broadcasted live online. The next City Council meeting is 5:30, Tuesday, August the 17th. All right, you know that sound. It's the sound of money. And starting tomorrow, people in Guilford County will have the opportunity to make a little cash. Guilford County Health Department starts giving out those $100 cash cards tomorrow. If you take someone to get their first dose, you can get a $25 cash card. To find out where you go to get that $100 gift card shot, head to our website, WFMYnews2.com.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up, Winston-Salem police were involved in what sounded like a wild crime spree this morning. They say an officer spotted a stolen vehicle on Highway 421 linked to a recent robbery. That officer followed the car to Wake Forest Baptist Hospital, where investigators say the driver hit 2 police cars. They eventually arrested a juvenile behind the wheel. Since they're underage, we don't know much more about that driver. Good news on the employment front today. The nation added more than 900,000 new jobs in the month of July. The unemployment rate fell to 5.4%, the lowest since March of 2020. Economists say the momentum makes them hopeful, but they are cautious about the latest coronavirus surge. Locally, the sting of unemployment continues to plague several industries. Today, the city of Winston-Salem temporarily suspended a bus route because of a driver shortage there. The city suspended Route 100 today until 10 p.m. It's the first time the authority says it's had to cut service because of a lack of drivers. And what a mess at Spirit Airlines. The discount carrier has canceled 55% of its flights this week. Cancellations have left passengers stranded at airports. The company's CEO says more cancellations are expected through the weekend. Spirit blames a perfect storm of staff shortages and bad weather. No bad weather here, but
all right,
Monique,
I haven't spent too much time outside today, and honestly, I regret it. I mean, look at the weather conditions outside. Very nice. I mean, overall, the temperatures also making for very comfortable feels outside as well. I mean, the numbers in a mix of 80s for you, making for very comfortable feels. You can see the cloud cover not blocking me from being able to see you here on this camera view. I mean, the sunshine not here, the cooler numbers, but as always, they're not going to stick around for too long. It is summertime. Here's a look at those temperatures across the map. 80s for you. Guys, it's August. It shouldn't feel this cool, so definitely take advantage of it. The dew point's at 60 degrees now, not in that oppressive range. However, it's just 60. We're riding that comfortable to humid range, so it still feels good outside. Great for a date night tonight. You can see the humidity really concentrated down to our south. That's where we're seeing those dew points in the 70s. Uncomfortable there. You can see Randolph County. But as we look northward, much drier air in place with dew points in a mix of 60s and upper 50s. That's more of a comfortable feel heading out the door. And that's why I'm not complaining out here at the Weather Center where weather conditions are feeling right. But I told you, they're not going to last for too long. You can see the trend increasing as we go to the midweek next week. So this weekend, we're staying in the 60s, which is okay. But as we go towards the middle of next week, those values are going to increase, making for very, very sticky feels heading out the door. I'll have more details on it coming up.
All right, Triad college athletes, they're really giving it all they've got in the Tokyo Olympics. UNCG alum Paul CHELIMO won a bronze medal for Team USA in the men's 5,000 meter final. Okay, he crossed the finish line in 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Okay. Meanwhile, North Carolina A&T runners Trevor Stewart and Randolph Ross were part of Team USA's 4x400 relay team. The athletes will advance to tomorrow's final. Back at home in Greensboro, fellow Aggies, of course, watched on, their hearts filled with a whole bunch of Aggie pride.
It puts us on another level. You know, a lot of people believe that HBCUs can't do this, can't do that, and it just proves that we got the best athletes and you can make it from anywhere.
Hey there. Okay, so he says he's excited for his school and the best is yet to come. I can't even imagine. He did it in 12 minutes.
And it's funny because I don't really know what's good or bad, honestly. But 12 obviously is very good, but what would be a bad score?
Probably 13 or 14 minutes. But
or 12 minutes and 5
Or what
seconds.
we would do, right?
Yeah, like
20 minutes.
25 minutes
Right.
maybe, or like sit on the bench for a second. But
Right.
Pretty incredible. If you see the finish when he's like diving across the finish line to get that bronze medal, and he said he's a fighter, he doesn't quit. He clearly proved it there to take home the bronze medal. I know he medaled also in the 2016 Olympics. I got the silver medal, so he has a couple medals now to his name in the Olympics. Pretty amazing.
And I love that there's always some sort of North Carolina triad tie to this, right? I mean, every time something big happens, I always think, okay, somebody's related to somebody who lives in Greensboro or something. And I love that we have so many ties for this, which is obviously a great thing.
Here's what I think of, right? We are in the same area of town as A&T. I could like run into him at Walmart.
Could you
I'm
imagine?
just saying, I can run into an Olympic medal winner at Walmart.
And if he's wearing the medal, you better ask to wear it or try it on, or
Take
at least
pictures.
Or
touch
at least
it.
bite it, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Luke, we have a lot of sports coming up here.
Yeah, who is ready for some Carolina Panthers football? We are live down at Bank of America Stadium.
The Panthers are no longer in Wofford College, at least for today. They are here at Bank of America Stadium getting ready for FanFest. We talked to head coach Matt Rule yesterday about tonight's practice. Hear from him coming up after the break.
Panthers football is making its return to the Queen City. We are nearing the best time of the year as Panthers FanFest kicks off in just a few hours inside Bank of America Stadium. It really is the public's first up-close and personal look at this year's team inside their home stadium. What's not to love? And our very own Amanda Ferguson is live outside B of A. And Amanda, it's been a long time coming since we've even stepped foot inside that stadium.
Yeah, Luke, it's my first time back here at Bank of America Stadium since the 2019 season, and is the first time since to have FanFest back here in 2 years. The event getting underway in just a few hours. You could say the Panthers had somewhat of a mini FanFest last Saturday down in Spartanburg. The team holding a night practice there, celebrating being back together with its fans. But tonight, they take a break from being at Wofford and are back inside their home stadium. Head coach Matt Rule says it's all about the fans tonight.
You know, there's probably people that don't get to come to a game that can maybe come to FanFest, right? And there's kids all across, you know, the region that are going to come, right? So, you know, we'll have the players talk here and there. We'll maybe do some fun things. So we'll get some work done. But I want it to be a celebration of our players, and I want it to be a good experience for all the kids that, you know, and fans. But I always think about kids, right? You know, all the kids that come, and this is their chance to see Christian McCaffrey and, you know, J.C. Horn and whoever else. So.
The gates open in about an hour and a half, and then at 6 o'clock there'll be some entertainment on the field, and at 7 practice will be getting underway. Now, if you can't make it here to Bank of America Stadium, do not worry. We will have this practice at FanFest on WFMY News 2 at 7 o'clock, your official home of the Carolina Panthers.
Amanda, thanks. We'll check back in with you in just a bit. Also, another player to keep an eye out for tonight, this guy, Christian McCaffrey. 100% healthy finally entering 2021. And like always, preaching consistency.
I think the biggest thing that doing well as an offense is keeping each other accountable and, you know, playing fast. And when we do make mistakes, you know, not letting them affect the next play. That's the biggest thing for us. You know, we know how good we can be. It's just a matter of being consistent every day, every play.
More FanFest coverage coming your way at 5 and 6 o'clock, so be sure to keep it right here on WFMY News 2. Also, keep in mind, tonight's Panthers FanFest will impact some of your normal programming. Secret Celebrity Restoration will air overnight at 1:37 a.m., followed by Wheel of Fortune in Jeopardy. We've put all this information on our website, WFMYnews2.com. Don't miss FanFest tonight at 7 o'clock right here on WFMY News 2, your official home of the Carolina Panthers. Stick around. We're back after this break.
you don't need me to tell you, travel has been an up and down industry since the pandemic started.
All right, but where are we now? Are there still deals out there? Are we safe to travel and to where? Eric Chilton went to the expert Claudia Murphy of Imagine Travel.
So Claudia, you know, it's interesting. I mean, you talk about vacations right now and, you know, Delta variant numbers are going up. And I just wondered kind of what the state of the union is right now when it comes to traveling.
Travel has never been busier. I think, you know, with people booking, it feels like we're back to 2019 again.
So it's interesting because you would think that just the opposite, but that's not happening. You know, we did get a lot of deals back when the pandemic was happening. What's up with that and how can we save money if we travel now?
The deals that you saw right at the beginning when travel started coming back are no more. More people are traveling, costs are going up. However, booking through travel agencies such as ours, we get promotional codes that we can use that take money off your trip, give you extra amenities.
So how safe is travel right now, especially if people are trying to go to, say, the Caribbean or somewhere where they'd have to fly?
I've never felt safer. I was in St. Martin in May and we had to be tested to go, tested to come back. There are some destinations that don't require those tests. However, you know, places like Jamaica, St. Martin, Turks and Caicos, they do still require testing to go. But we have actually partnered with a lab here in Greensboro that makes it easier for our clients to get their tests.
And just a side note here, can you get better deals now that summer is winding down? I mean, is that kind of a thing where it's a last minute booking can actually save you money?
Anytime the kids are supposed to be back in school or are back in school, the prices tend to go down because fewer families are traveling. So yes, there are deals. Europe is wide open now, so we're headed into shoulder season, which always reduces the cost of airfare and travel throughout Europe. So there are some savings to be found starting in September.
Claudia, thanks for taking time out. Good advice for us as we wind out the summer.
You know, I think a lot of people are still a little bit apprehensive about travel, but I cut the cord when I got that vaccine and I said, let me go, let me be free. I'm just going to go wherever I want.
I did too, and I don't feel like they're
nervous.
No, I don't. I mean, I see all the cleaning being done. I see people, everybody's wearing their mask when they're in the airport and they're on the plane, and it doesn't seem to be something that should heighten my alertness.
Right. What about you, Monique?
I think vacations are healthy for us. I mean, at times we're working so much and we love what we do, especially here in news, but sometimes we just need to take a break, and vacations are really important to do. So it's good that all of us, at least more recently, have been kind of taking breaks and taking vacations.
I really hope that we don't go into another lockdown type scenario. You know, I don't want to wear a mask for the rest of my life, but if it means that I can go places and do things, I will wear it when I'm told to wear it.
Yeah, and I think more people are more cognizant of personal space, don't you?
Right.
I mean, even in the airport, if, you know, people are sitting close enough, they kind of inch over a little bit more and they kind of like get out of your space a little bit, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to be a little bit more sanitary.
You're right.
I know. I've seen a lot of people lately, you know, they get on the plane and they immediately take the wipes that they were handed and wiping everything down, even though the plane was wiped down prior, but just, you know, little double duty here.
Got no problem with it.
Right. And Monique, the weather, boy, you don't have to go to Florida anywhere. It feels like it here.
Well, not at least today. We are starting to see some thicker clouds make their way in, and that's because we do have some showers that are expected to kind of move through in some locations today and in the early hours of your Saturday morning, continuing through that lunchtime hour. You can even see on our satellite and radar picking up on some of that shower and even storm activity well down to our south. This is all pushing, you can see, in that northeastern direction. They're coming from the south and tracking towards the northeast. Zooming a little bit closer to the Triad, you can see some of our southern counties getting to see rain right now. So heads up to Greensboro. This is just showers. I'm not expecting storms, but definitely going to need to grab the umbrella at least over the next hour or so as these showers continue to move in this northeastern direction. Now for tomorrow, the Storm Prediction Center has eastern North Carolina under a marginal risk for severe weather. Here at home, the timing of things, I told you early in the day, so you can see the timing. Early in the day, that's when we have the better chance of showers and storms here. But by the end of the day, we should be drying out and be much clearer, and conditions should stay cool for tomorrow.
sometimes we can be our own toughest critic. Well, in today's U Day, Coach Lamont talks about persevering through the hard times.
Once a dog ran into a museum. This museum was unique. The walls, ceiling, doors, and floors were all made of mirrors. Seeing his reflection, the dog froze in fear. All he saw was a pack of dogs surrounding him from all sides. The dog became aggressive. The reflections responded the same. Frightened, the dog began to bark frantically. The reflections imitated. The dog barked, tossed from side to side while the reflections did the same. Unfortunately, the next day, the dog was found lifeless. The dog died by fighting with his own reflection. Don't you know that life wants you to destroy yourself, but you can't? The difference between the dog and you is life doesn't want you to see the reflection of who you are, because the moment that you do, you will then realize that you can't be defeated.
We have all heard and likely said, count your blessings.
I know, I just sang that old school hymn that
Let's
you probably
hear it.
learned in Vacation Bible School. I am gonna just spare you.
It was really good. It was really good.
But the mantra couldn't be more important, especially during tough times like an ongoing pandemic. WFMY News 2's Megan Maleris makes it her mission each week to find out all the good news, bringing joy to you.
Let's start the weekend on a high note. It's time to sit back, relax, and do some reflection on life's many blessings. It can clear your mind and help you reset, especially after a long or challenging week. I asked you on my Facebook page, Megan Maleris News, to tell me something good, big or small, that happened in your life recently. Kenny lost 104 pounds and is 2 classes away from finishing his bachelor's degree in nursing. He said God is so good. Tracy got a new grandbaby, a little boy. Cheryl's daughter came home from 7 months of deployment in the Navy. Felicia blessed someone with tomatoes fresh from her garden. Debbie and her husband celebrated their 20th wedding anniversary. Rose's great-granddaughter, Chrislyn, has a lot to say. They just don't quite know what it is yet.
Barbara is on week 23 without a cigarette. Michelle submitted her second book for publication and is thanking God. Don started a new career. Barbara's daughter is back home after living in Alaska for 3.5 years. She's happy to spend time together again. Alicia said the nice summer temperatures have been a big blessing. Renee saw her grandsons play Little League football. Tilly's brother had major surgery and is doing well. She said cancer is a beast, but he's got this. And Tim had his 2-year post-cancer surgery checkup. He's cancer-free and said God is great.
I love all the good things that are happening out there.
Absolutely. Could you imagine if we did this every day?
It would be a good gratitude journal that we
Yeah.
all should be writing, right?
Absolutely.
So I will say that for the first time, I gave myself a pass to take off a day when I got back from vacation before I went to work. I usually am always like, just hit the ground running and go.
Right.
Okay, I was so glad that after I got off the plane from Alaska that I had a day off because I felt like a zombie. And now I feel great. So that is my good news.
Did you do anything with that day, or you just kind of relaxed?
I took 2 naps.
That's great. That's
Because
awesome.
the time change is really odd, right? Yeah.
And while you were partying in Alaska, I was in Nebraska, and I got to see some friends who I haven't seen in almost 2 years.
Which is great to see.
Yeah, you know, obviously the pandemic just kind of put a pause on everything, so it was just so great to catch up with them. And isn't it great that for people that you haven't seen in such a long time, you can really tell how good of friends you are with them because you just pick up right where you left off.
Yes, there are so many people like that, and that is a true blessing because not everybody has those kinds of friends. So
Absolutely.
if you do, lucky you.
She's one of mine.
Right there.
We're going to go to the break. We'll be back.
Right. With
After a century plus of history, the Celia... Mic check, okay. After a century's worth of history, the Celia Phelps United Methodist Church has touched 1,000.
the week of
Who's doing that?
me, Eric, and Lauren.
Really?
Yeah, because Tracy's off because Megan. It is Friday. You made it to Friday. Welcome to the 4 to 5. I'm Tanya Rivera. We got Chad Silver, Jalen Gilkey, and Monique Robinson.
Hey, Monique is tracking the return of the heat and the humidity in just a moment. But first, our continuing coverage of a devastating early morning fire that destroyed a Guilford County church. Around 3:30 a.m., firefighters responded to Celia Phelps United Methodist Church on Groomtown Road. It took about an hour to put out the flames.
Well, the roof of the church collapsed. Investigators say there's a chance that the church will no longer be able to have services inside.
Really just devastating. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey is live outside the church today, where he met a man who's been going there for decades. Jalen.
Well, after a century's worth of history, the Celia Phelps United Methodist Church has touched thousands of lives. One of those lives belongs to Mr. Joseph Allen. Mr. Allen is now 72 years old, and he told us earlier today that he's going to church right here for as long as he can remember.
Since I was brought to church by my mom in her arms several years ago.
Mr. Allen went on to explain what this church means to him and his church family.
It's been a home, okay? It's as far as any religious background, family background, all of that was here. The people I learned to know and love, all here.
And as you guys can see, this fire has caused extensive damage to several different parts of the building, but we spoke with Reverend Ellis Carson earlier today, and they're hopeful that they will be able to salvage part of the building.
Jalen, thank you. Our thoughts and prayers definitely with that church family over there. This is a developing story. We'll share the latest updates with our app followers first.
All right, let's get your 4 to 5 roundup going. Here we are. Cone Health is restricting the number of people allowed to visit hospital patients to just one person per day. Now, I want to make this very clear. This change only applies to patients in the main hospital. This does not affect people at surgery centers and other branches of Cone Health's healthcare system. The one person per day change is due to rising COVID changes. Again, only applying to the main hospitals, not other branches of Cone Health system like surgery and cancer treatment centers. Right now, a mask requirement is in effect in Kernersville. It's not as strict as the others, but it does require unvaccinated people to wear masks in government facilities. Enforcement is really based on the honor system since the town is not requiring proof. Parents of Rockingham County school students will have a chance to weigh in on the district's mask policy. Next Monday at the central office in Eden, school board members are holding a public meeting, and that meeting starts at 6 p.m. District officials say they will make a decision on the mask policy next week.
I want to show you a closer look at one of our state's coronavirus metrics not doing well right now. This graph shows the percentage of tests coming back positive. The latest number is 10.6%. It's in line with the numbers that we have seen over the past couple of weeks, but it's still too high. Keep in mind the red line here is 5%, which is the state's goal. Right now, we are more than double that. We haven't dipped below the red line since July 15th, 3 weeks ago. It's shocking how far we have devolved in the last few weeks. Just 1 month ago, we were at 3%. 2 weeks before that, we were at 1%. Around that time, I truly thought we could put an end to these daily number updates. Well, they seemed irrelevant at the time. Well, that's not the case anymore. Meantime, the CDC says daily numbers on the national level reached the highest total since February. The number of new daily cases topped 106,000 yesterday.
For a third day in a row, the number of people hospitalized with COVID-19 in Louisiana has reached a new high. Most of the patients are unvaccinated, like 37-year-old Cedric Daniels.
It's one thing to be out of breath, but it's another thing to just be out of breath watching TV.
The unvaccinated and the Delta variant are driving a surge in COVID cases nationwide, and experts expect the numbers will rise in the face of large events, like the Sturgis motorcycle rally that begins today in South Dakota. Last year, it became a super spreader event.
So we have every reason to believe that this year is going to be just as bad, if not worse.
While most people hospitalized with COVID are unvaccinated, the director of the CDC says to expect tens of thousands of mild cases of COVID among vaccinated individuals. The agency says by early September, it should have a plan in place for booster shots. California has now mandated vaccines for all healthcare workers. United Airlines joined a growing number of U.S. companies telling its U.S.-based employees they must be fully vaccinated by late October. A new Gallup poll finds about 1 in 5 U.S. adults say they won't be vaccinated under any circumstances, and that number has held steady in recent months.
And as students prepare to head back to school, the U.S. Education Secretary warns students and teachers need to wear masks in schools, or in-person classes could shut down again.
We're talking about protecting students. This shouldn't be hard.
In Johnson County, Kansas, protesters packed a community meeting discussing masks in schools.
We went along to get along once. We will not do it again.
County commissioners voted 5-2 to require masks for kids 12 and under. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
All right, now if you've lost your vaccination card, there is a way to replace it. It's pretty easy. In fact, Patricia emailed me earlier asking about this. The first thing you should do is reach out to the place where you got your shot. But if that doesn't work, this is always the good second, or maybe the first time around. You can get a new card from the state. What you do is you access your vaccine information by registering and creating an account on the state's health department website. There you can just download and print your vaccine information.
About 2 million dehumidifiers are under recall today over concerns about fire and burn hazards. The units were manufactured by New Widetech and produced for several brands, including Whirlpool and Perfect Air. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the dehumidifiers can overheat and catch fire. While no injuries have been reported, the products are blamed for $17 million in property damage. And if you have a dehumidifier, you've probably been giving it a break the last couple of days, but it sounds like, Monique, you might have to be using it once again coming up over the weekend.
Yeah, I'd have a humidifier myself. They are very, very useful, especially during these humid days. Now, today, not so much the case. Tomorrow, maybe not either. But as we go through the week next week, definitely everyone's going to be talking about the increased humidity, the stickiness, the air you can wear. We always talk about it. But before I talk about weather conditions here at home, I do want to draw your eyes to the tropics, where we now have 2 areas of interest that we're keeping a close eye on. It is hurricane season. We weren't busy much throughout the month of July, but August is especially the time of year where we start to see tropical development increase. So this system right here, this tropical wave that's just off the west coast of Africa, does have a 60% chance of development over the next 5 days, so could become the next tropical depression. But again, keeping a close eye on it as it continues to move into the southern central Atlantic. You can see much of the system kind of looking more and more like that tropical wave, kind of like a line of showers and storms there. But overall, keeping a close eye on that, and also the radar here at home. We see some showers that are continuously tracking in this northeastern direction. So Alamance County, Guilford County, in some locations, keep an eye out for some showers, just some heavy rainfall, not expecting these to be thunderstorms. I haven't showed that full 7-day yet, but here you go. I've been talking about the heat, the potential use of that humidifier going into next week, and you can see those 90s on there. That's not a joke. It's gonna get hot and sticky around here, and especially in the afternoon, gonna have to keep an eye out for a scattered shower storm for much of the week. But tomorrow is the big day where we're gonna see the coolness, and then after that, we're heating up.
WWW. You see it all the time. It doesn't even catch your attention anymore. What does WWW stand for?
You know, when I first saw this, I thought, what would Jesus do? But
that
no,
is not it.
Right. World Wide Web?
World Wide Web. Of course, remember when we used to have to say it every time we gave an internet address?
Right.
Go to www.wfmynews2.com?
Sure.
Okay. No longer, right? It's an assumed part of the address. But how did we even get the words World Wide Web? The answer is this dude right here. Okay, so what happens is the answer is Tim Berners-Lee. On this day, August 6, 1991, he launched his very first website on the World Wide Web. 30 years, Monique. Can you even imagine?
I wasn't born yet, guys.
That's okay. That's okay.
Isn't it so crazy that it was so recent?
30 years? Yeah, because you feel like the web has been around forever and a day, right?
Right.
I mean, it's been around forever since you ever knew it, right?
Yeah, I've always known to have websites, known of the web. I didn't know there was a time when there wasn't.
Right. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Tim Berners-Lee, all right? We're going to find him again. So starting in 1989, he began working on ways digital objects could be identified and retrieved through browser software capable of rendering graphics and other images. On August 6, 1991, he launched the world's first website. And it's like http://info.crn. It's not anything that you know. It was dedicated to information on his World Wide Web project. Now get this, Berners-Lee decided against patenting his technology and instead offered it as royalty-free software.
What a nice guy.
I can't even imagine, right? So it all started with one website. What would you guess is the number of estimated websites now?
45 gazillion.
That's about right, don't you think? I
Yeah.
mean, it is estimated to be 1.8 billion.
Wow.
1.8 billion.
Okay.
So it all started with one. And so to think it's all free, right? Because nothing in this world is free anymore, right?
Except the internet.
Except the internet. In an interview with the Associated Press in 2019, he released a rule book for what he called online conduct. And that was to combat misinformation and surveillance and also government censorship.
There's a sense that some of these questions were really hard. The world, this new world in which so much of our society is determined by how social networks work and so on, is new, and there's no rule book written 100 years ago.
Right, and he's like, there wasn't, rule books for 100 years back telling you what to do, so it's all new. People call the World Wide Web the Wild, Wild West.
Yeah, it is. Could you imagine if there was a rule book and people had to follow it?
Yeah, well, there should be some rules, don't you think? And there are some rules.
Facebook would be so boring, right? If you had to follow rules about things, and I'm going to leave it at that.
You're going to leave it at that?
Don't read the comments.
No, don't read the comments. All right, happy World Wide Web Day, everyone. We'll be right back.
Say it ain't so. People in the alcohol and spirits industry say supplies are down.
But for our local distilleries, this could actually be a good thing. Eric Chilton spoke with Zeb Williams of Old Nick Distilleries to find out what's going on.
Hi Zeb, thanks for hanging out with us today. You know, we are hearing that there's a little bit of a shortage for spirits in some of the ABC stores across the state. Talk a little bit about what you've heard about this and why that's happening.
You know, we're hearing all sorts of rumors that that's causing a shortage. Obviously, you have supply chain issues across the country. as well as, shortage on drivers, shortage on employees. And I think it's just trickling down across the state, getting the product to the ABC stores.
So I would think does that open the doors for some of our distilleries across the state maybe to make an impact, or how does that affect you guys now?
Well, absolutely. I think it's a great opportunity for not only the small distilleries here across North Carolina, but our local consumers to, be educated on that we have great products being produced right here in the Triad. I mean, between Greensboro and Winston-Salem, you have Broad Branch Distillery and Sutler's Distillery in downtown Winston. You got Fainting Goat there in Greensboro, and then you also have the Old Nick Williams Distillery out here in Louisville. Each of us, produce and sell top-notch spirits made right here with local ingredients.
All right, so tell me, Zeb, you've got your finger on the pulse of this. What's the next big thing? I know for several years, almost a decade, it seems like bourbon has been such a big deal for a lot of folks. What's next?
The rye whiskey right now is really taking off across the country. You're going to see a big boom in tequilas. I think, with consumers and the education of the internet and social media, the sky's the limit.
Zeb, we appreciate your time today. Good luck with all of this.
And we've got more information about local distilleries on our website. We'll be right back. Your child's video and computer gaming could lead to a high-paying career in tech.
Wouldn't that be a nice trade-off after all that? The industry needs experienced workers, and video gaming is on the list of qualifications. So one of the places looking to hire gamers specifically is the FAA.
Yeah, the FAA is recruiting gamers to be air traffic controllers. The agency says the job uses many of the same skills as video games, and the list grows from there.
Greensboro app developer and software consultant Ciandris Jackson is behind an effort to give TRIAD youth a pathway to tech careers and tech certifications.
Yeah, she says that's where the jobs are now and in the future.
There's a shortage in, I think, pilots, which is growing every day. There's a shortage in aviation mechanics. So there's lots of opportunity out there.
Jackson founded the Be Great Foundation, which gets kids 10 to 17 excited about STEM.
At a drone workshop, they were able to put on virtual reality goggles and see the drone fly, from Lindley Park all the way across 40. So things like that get them excited. And then when they hear the possibilities, they can connect the dots to build a future with that.
The foundation also provides scholarships for young adults to get those certifications from industry leaders, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. Jackson is also bringing attention to the need for diversity in STEM.
The Be Great Foundation is raising money to provide dozens of TRIAD kids the opportunity to go to a free virtual camp. We've got more information on WFMYnews2.com.
And when I think STEM, I think Monique.
Yeah, I was listening to that and I was like, okay, what are the details? 'Cause I want to learn more about that. I definitely think what she's doing is great for the community. I think it's really important that diversity is encouraged in STEM. There's very few women, there's very few black women who do what even I do as a meteorologist. So it's really important that we showcase that to the community.
You know, a lot of parents at home are saying, did you really have to say that the video gaming was good for my child? Because now they have an excuse, right?
They're like, I'm doing like research, right? So I can make $1 million, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, this is an investment in my career. Let's talk about your career, Monique.
Well, it's starting off on a good foot. I'm here with you guys at WFMY, so I'm enjoying it. And weather conditions are nice outside as well. Now, some thicker clouds are sort of rolling their way through. Some locations seeing rain, some locations not. I think the next big county that's going to see some rain is Alamance County. This is a shot of Burlington, temperature 87, but the cloud cover moving in, you can see the heavy rainfall that has shifted out of Randolph County into southern portions of Alamance County. These are not storms, but very heavy rainfall that's moving through, and that's going to be the case for at least the next couple of hours or so. You can see some lighter showers also there in Guilford County. Tomorrow, that's when we're going to see the greatest chance of storms for the weekend, and I think that's for the early part of the day, and then we'll be drying out for the latter part of the day. There are some rain chances in that full 7-day. Take a look. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3.
Hi there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee.
Hi Kelly, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. I need a tutorial about
my name is not Lauren. I do not look like Lauren or sound like her, but our names do start with an L.
Hi, mic check 1 2 3 4 5. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5.
Went on to tell us about the early morning phone call he woke up to. Hey, Caledonia. Mic check. Mr. Joseph Allen is feeling a lot of the same.
Hi, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check, mic check.
Time for my 2 cents, and today, dad jokes part 2, baby. Again, as I said yesterday, if you don't know what dad jokes are, then you really are a dad. Here we go. Number 1. If April showers bring Mayflowers, then what do Mayflowers bring? Pilgrims! I love this one. What did the janitor say when he jumped out of his closet? Supplies! I only know 25 letters of the alphabet. I don't know why. I told you they were horrible. Don't stop it. Let me get through this. Here's one for you. How does the moon cut his hair? Eclipse it. What did the baby corn say to the mama corn? Where's popcorn? A true dad joke. Pop, dad. What did one hat say to the other hat? You stay, I'll go on ahead. Here's the last and my favorite of the day. How do you track actor Will Smith in the snow? You look for fresh prints. Ta-da! That's just my 2 cents. And that's your 4 to 5 WFY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Cone Health is introducing new restrictions as coronavirus spreads like wildfire again.
Starting on Monday, only one person can visit a patient in the hospital instead of the current 2. This change only applies to patients in main hospitals. There are no changes in other places like